Hey, how's it going? It's Nancy Gamon. Thanks for visiting. In the last video, I shared a technique for creating pretty ice-dyed snowflake patterns on fabric. In this video, as promised, I'll show you how to use some of that fabric to create lovely little winter holiday greeting cards. Check the video description for links to resources and a complete supply list. To make this project, you'll need some blank greeting card stock, a pretty piece of hand-dyed fabric, some paper back heat-activated fusible interfacing. This is something you can get at the fabric store, an iron, and it's also helpful to have a cutting mat, a straight edge, and a rotary cutter. Oftentimes, hand-dyed fabric looks different on each side. On this side of the fabric, you can see there's some strong dark blue areas that I don't find so attractive. But on the other side, they don't really show up as strongly. So I'm going to call this the right side of the fabric and this the wrong side. So this is the side I'm going to adhere the fusible to. One side of the fusible is paper backed and the other side has the little dots of adhesive. So it's the dot side that goes down and the paper side that goes up. I've cut my interfacing to be just a tiny bit smaller than the piece of fabric, and this is so that when it's activated with the heat, it doesn't get sticky stuff on the ironing board. So I have it smoothed out and I'm just going to use a hot iron to pass over it fairly quickly, just enough to melt the adhesive and get the interfacing adhered to the back of the fabric. And there we are. My greeting card is 5 by 7 inches, so I'm going to cut my fabric to be 4.5 by 6.5 so that it's just a little bit smaller than the greeting card, and we'll leave a 1/4 inch border around all the edges. So this is where the cutting mat comes in very handy, because on this particular design there's a clear vertical line and the clear horizontal line, and I want to make sure that those get centered and are straight on the card. So I'm going to use the lines that are on the cutting mat as a guide and kind of shift the fabric so that this vertical line lines up with a line on the cutting mat, and also so that the horizontal line lines up. So since I'm going to make this 4.5 inches wide, I want from the center point 2.25 inches in each direction. Leaving the fabric nice and lined up, I'm just going to spin the mat and measure it 2.25 inches again to the right. And since I want the length to be 6.5 inches, from this center line, I'm going to measure out 3.25 inches and trim, and just leave it everything lined up, spin the mat, and 3.25 inches again. And I'm ready to peel off the paper from the back of the fabric. And so now the adhesive is on the fabric and it's ready to be heat activated. So I'm just going to position the fabric in the center of the card and get it right where I want it, with a little border on all of the sides, and then it's ready to iron on. Just takes a few passes with a hot iron to activate the adhesive, and we're done. So it's a really good idea to set the card on a hard surface with a book on top while it's cooling. That helps it stay nice and flat. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Check the video description for links to resources and a complete supply list. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to be notified of new video releases. I'll see you next time. Do 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 do.